Okay, we got another one for middle game technique. And I have been playing a lot of different openings lately, just gaining experience and trying to figure out different things that I like and fill in gaps in understanding. I don't think it hurts anything to play a lot of openings in chess, as sometimes I'll be playing an opening and then pick up a pattern that I can use in a similar structure that I play all the time. So I've been playing the English quite a lot with white, so I thought, why not? Let's play a Sicilian. And the closest Sicilian to an English is the Accelerated Dragon. The pure dragon, you have to deal with hardcore attacks like the Yugoslav attacks with the Fisher-like pejorative of sack mate, get it done on the H-file. You don't have to really deal with that in the dragon lines unless you choose to. I find that interesting. And the number one thing that I see from strong players in this position, the aggressive guys like knight c3, but most people play c4 in the Maroczy Bind. And when you check the engine, it recommends an odd move here, which I quite like, and queen b6. It's kind of provocative, and I saw this move for the first time in an Olympiad game where Dominguez lost to a much lower rated grandmaster with white. And Dominguez played knight b5 here, and the game went something like queen a5, knight f6, f3. And you end up getting a game. This is equal, but I think it's a little bit better than what you typically get because we've got the queen on a5 and a bit more flexibility. But the other line is knight b3. So why is it significant to play queen b6 only to play the queen back to d8? And this is a pattern that exists in a lot of different Sicilians. Well, b4 is a plan in the Maroczy Bind. They play b4 and b5 occasionally, which is why, for instance, in the absolute main line, and I've done some videos in the past on the channel from like the pure Maroczy Bind position, and I probably messed up the move order there. Queen b6 I think was a move, but we get this position and you typically go takes here and a5 to secure the b4 square, bishop c6, and then you see a move like rook fc1, and then knight d7 to try to trade bishops. They refuse, and this is the general mainline position that you get, where you normally go knight c5, queen b6, rook f to c8, and I've even seen lines with bishop e5 at some point, and you play for some kind of attack. You have options. White's slightly better. It's a Maroczy Bind position, but options nonetheless. But notice how the knight on d4 was traded off. With a knight on b3, it can be in the way. And you just simply go back to d8. I guess if knight d4, it's a technical draw offer, but you can just go with the main line at that point. But you're testing the waters to see if your opponent will give themselves a different position, which they may not know or may not be comfortable with. A little bit of surprise value in the opening there. Knight c3, and best is queen d2. And I actually had forgotten this when I played the game, but you can actually take here, which is counterintuitive. And the idea is playing against the doubled c-pawns, much like you do with the Nimzo Indian. I want to play b6, bishop a6, knight a5, rook c8, and it's a problem. Since the nature of the position is closed, we definitely have compensation for giving up our dragon bishop. In the main game, though, I played knight f6, castles, castles, d6, and it looks like we're getting a pretty standard structure, but it's a little bit different. I mean, bishop e6 followed by knight e5 could be a plan, but it would encourage the white knight to get to a different square. So I played the move a5 without hesitation because it's a normal move in the main line, and a4 could be quite annoying at some juncture. He played queen d2, and without missing a beat, a4, And then bishop d7, another move we see from the main line. I am worried about the potential of c5 or e5, so queen a5. Now I'm supporting the a pawn, could be pushed to a3, weakening the c3 knight. Queen's on a good square there. And already white is nearly -2 in the position after this move. It's roughly equal, and now it's a big, big problem. So how best to continue here for black? If you're a pause your video person, now is the time. Okay. Takes, most forcing. Takes. Knight e5 is fine, but I didn't want to block the eye of the bishop. So knight a5, eyeing critical squares. And on bishop d4, this is interesting because I would disagree with the engine's assessment here. It believes bishop h6 is better. But I'll show you the line that it gives, and then I'll show you the line that I get in the game. So it says bishop h6. You trade off. You get the second rank, and then you put the bishop right back to trade, and then go rook d2, where white has some activity. My line was rook fc8 immediately. a3 was played because my opponent was having trouble figuring out what to do. And the engine likes f5 here. I'm not a fan of having to make that move and compromise my structure. I can leave it in reserve. It's not necessary because there's another plan here. What would you do? Hopefully you found rook c7, because all of our pieces aren't in harmony yet. They're not all working. And now on knight d3, we've been given the c2 square. We could easily play rook c2 here, but I wanted to go knight b3 first, as now the rooks can't coordinate. And now I go bishop b5 because if I'm able to just capture the knight in some variations, that's going to be devastating. So I understood my opponent's point. He gets rid of his bad bishop, but now when I come to c2, I'm coming with tempo. And after knight d4, this is already a winning position for black. 5 points in the green, in fact. So again, I want you to focus on technique here. What's best? I'll give you 2 candidate moves to choose from. And it was in this position I took about 10 seconds to think, comparing b5 and rook e2. And what do you think? Which one would you choose and why? Well, b5 could give the opponent time in the position to be a bit annoying. So say b5, rook b4, it defends the b2 pawn again and hits our b5 pawn. If I go rook e2 at that point, king h1, rook c to c2, rook g1, and though the b pawn is falling, I felt the game would last a lot longer because he has time to defend. So I said to myself, if I play rook e2 immediately, I'm leaving the a pawn as bait, and then I double rooks. But I saw deeper in the position because I knew the g and h pawns would fall. My a and b pawns would fall. But his king is going to be in a bad spot. So this is where understanding tactical themes are important as well. And you need to be able to see a mating theme for black in the position, otherwise it's hard to justify play here. So thankfully I saw all this. Pretty much the rest of the game is defined by this moment, and that's why it's so important. Rook e2, rook c to c2, check. And this is the idea that I was thinking of when I played rook e2. Black to move. What is best? Because if we have a draw at any time with check, 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 check. We have more though. We're completely winning here. And if we give white time and we're not doing anything constructive, he's going to take the B pawn and start running the A pawn, and we could be in trouble. So the winning idea, H5. I want my pawn on H3. So when I play rook check, actually, we'll go green arrow. Rook H1 mate. H4, H3. White quickly found the only defense, but that in turn defended my B pawn. And now there's too many weaknesses. Go after a base pawn, and things fall. Again, critical. Go after base pawns. Don't allow your opponent counterplay. The only thing that could hurt me is the potential of a pass pawn, as he has 2 versus 1. Takes. Take. Well, there. Takes. And what's better? Here or here? D4 or A5? A5, because the rook cannot defend the pawn. Now it's 3 versus none, and not much to see there, as my opponent resigns, understanding I am simply going to go king e6, and then gradually push the phalanx forward over time with a trivial win. Hopefully the game was instructive in this accelerated dragon Maroczy Bind. If you enjoyed the video and some of the middle game ideas and key moments, definitely like and subscribe. I would appreciate your support. Thanks.